What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Shannon Smith, and welcome to another episode of the Successes Within Reach podcast. This is episode 4, Strategies and Innovations for New Entrepreneurs. Today, my guest is a small business strategist and tech project management consultant. She also has a CEO Spotlight YouTube series. Let's bring on at this time Ms. Brittney Iwegbu.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing? There you go. We can hear you now. All right. And she streamlines daily technical processes for CEOs and project launches. Also educates on how to buy back time through tech literacy courses, leveraging tech tools to build and scale businesses, and best practices for implementing consistent workflows, systems, and automated processes. So if you want to find out how to work smart and not hard, this is where you go. Miss Brittany will get you straight. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you joining us this evening. All right. Want to remind you all you can join in the conversation live and submit your questions for the panel to answer at www.facebook.com/SIWR podcast. Once again, www.facebook.com/SIWR podcast. All right, let's get into it. First question. What are some essential checklist steps a new entrepreneur should take before launching a new business?
The first thing you need to know is this something I really am good at, or is this something I really want to do? Have I tried this, or is this something new? So I would say the first part of the checklist is, before you create the checklist, understand, is this something that I want to do long term? And so that would be the first thing. After that, I would say, once you know that this is something that either you're passionate about or that you've been doing for a little while, then start to kind of write out what are those things that you're doing for people already. Like, write those things down. And what that's called is your standard of procedure. So understanding, like, what are the steps that I'm taking on a day-to-day basis in order for me to actually complete certain tasks. And then after that, then I would say, get with a consultant, get with a coach, and basically flesh out how you're going to start building your process up in an automated fashion. So in my particular line of business, I try to get things streamlined because I'm a mom. I have 3 daughters and I don't have a lot of time. And so those are kind of the things, right? Sometimes we just have little to no time because we're parents, or because we're, just whatever your reason is, you're busy. So
Yeah.
it gives you more access to your clients and focusing in, like, really think about what you want your client process to be, especially if you're a service-based business. So the basic thing is knowing that this is something that you really want to do and that you're going to have to put energy and time in it. Then making sure that you start writing down, what are the daily things that I'm going to need to do, or I would perceive that I would need to do. And then finally start putting in place some type of things that are automated. And for those of you that don't know what automation is, it's basically getting your system set up on autopilot almost, to work without you. So sending out your emails, sending out your thank you notes, the things that you want to tell people that are your potential clients, stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you take the time to map out and strategize when you're launching a new business. I know it can be super exciting and you got a million and one ideas and you want to just hurry up and get out there and get in front of people. But I I promise you, it's chess, not checkers. You
Mhm.
got to play the long game with this. You only have once to make a first impression. You don't want to launch your business wrong and you don't want to come out too soon. A
Yeah.
lot of people have a great product or a great service, but they launch too soon.
Mhm.
You don't want to just jump out there, create a website, and throw social media together, and then say somebody likes it and says, "Okay, I want to invest, $100,000 into it. How soon can you provide, X amount of product?" And you're like, I
Wait a
don't know. You haven't done exactly.
minute. I'll be right
You
back.
haven't done you don't have logistics, you don't have production, you haven't thought of any of that. So make sure you take your time, like you said, look at every facet that you're going to need. What staffing are you going to need? What's the best social media platform? What's the best, website platform? What are your merchandising and, like I say, your logistics costs going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Think about your slogans, your logos, like every single detail. Don't leave anything out. And then sit down with somebody that's done this before.
Yep.
Find a good consultant, find a good coach, somebody that can walk you through this thing, and find the little things that you may have forgotten about.
You're
You
right.
know, like I said, you want to make sure you hit the ground running, but you want to make sure that you come out right.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Definitely. All right. Next up, what are some social media do's and don'ts for new entrepreneurs? This is a really big one.
Okay.
So,
I'll start with the don't.
okay.
Don't make your account private. That would so do get a business account. Don't make it private. And if it's a business
Hmm.
account, I don't think it'll let you be private. But if you're someone who is thinking about doing business or you're thinking about, setting up a page, a lot of times I've seen a lot of people transition from being having a personal page to a business page. And so like it's kind of like they're trying to hide their business, like while they're getting it started. And it's like, oh, it's my personal account, but I do my business on there too. And it's like, but how do people know that you're even there? If like
Exactly.
so if you even if you do have a personal account and you're doing business on that personal account, which that's another don't, but I'll tell you in a minute. So if you are doing business on your personal account, make it public. Tell people what you're doing, let them know, because here's the thing. I think that as entrepreneurs in any part of the process, like we have this feeling of anxiety and anxiousness about how we come across to people. And so literally like we don't want to be looked at as unprofessional, and it's like, oh, it's not polished enough yet, it's not ready to launch. People don't need to see it yet. But that's not true. You need to
Yeah.
let people walk with you through the process so that they know, where you are, and present everything that you do as quality. So that's that on that. The reason I said so the second one, or the third one now, will be don't make your account personal to do a business. And y'all, I'm a mom, so you hear my daughters. um I'm like, before anybody makes any comments, okay, look, but I got daughters and they live their best life, okay. So anyway, yeah, so I would say don't do a personal account, because a business account is going to provide you with like different types of functionality, right?
Hmm.
So you will have access to analytics, you'll have access to numbers that you need to make adjustments in your business. So you can't say, oh, I'm gonna do this personal account, I'm gonna just work on it. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot. If
Hmm.
you get a personal account, you got it private, nobody knows you have a business, don't know where y'all think the customers are going to come from, but I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna be real with you, and my people know, like, I'm gonna tell you straight. So literally you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you aren't getting all of the possible resources you could be getting from having a business account. So definitely get a business account. Don't make your personal account, if you are doing it on your personal account, private. And what else is a do and a don't? As a new entrepreneur, you said,
Hmm.
um, don't be afraid to spend money
Okay.
on your business, because okay, so I do a lot of email marketing, lead magnet funnels, all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff that I'm dealing with is technology, and I'm gonna tell y'all, it can get pricey. Okay,
Hmm.
you cannot come in the gate, and if we're talking about my particular industry and my particular expertise, you can't come out the gate saying I want to do the free thing. Okay,
Hmm.
because the different tiers and the different levels of functionality that you will get from doing an account that is free versus doing an account that is a premium account, you're not going to get as much value from having that account. And so that
Hmm.
would definitely be a don't. Those would be my do's and don'ts for new entrepreneurs trying to use tech or anything like that to start building their business.
Nice. So I'm gonna come at it from a little bit different angle.
Oh,
So for a new entrepreneur, take your time and do your homework to find out what platform best suits your business. That is very, very important. A lot of people waste a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money on the completely wrong platform for their customer base, for their product or service, and for their niche. If you have, a client base that is say 13 to 21 years old, you have no business being on LinkedIn. Those are your Snapchat, your TikTok group. Even now, with Instagram rolling out Reels to compete with TikTok, that's your group.
yeah.
If you have a business where you have to have a lot of text, meaning you have to explain things and give a lot of analytics and data, then you're looking at Facebook. You shouldn't be on Twitter where you're limited to a short amount of characters. Twitter is for, that I say 25 to 40-year-old group that you can, in 3 sentences or less, explain what your product or service is, get directly to the point, and you have something that'll get them to click on, whatever website or product link or service that you have. Um, if you are a visual person, you want to get into your Instagrams, create those highlight reels. If you're a person that likes graphics and you love to create videos and highlight reels, Instagram is your go-to. So take your time to make sure you're not wasting a lot of time and money, because I promise you, Facebook ads add up. Instagram ads add up. You don't want to be wasting time on there if you should be on LinkedIn, because your customer base is corporate America.
Right.
So take the time to really study these social media platforms. Like she said, don't have a business page set on private, or use your personal page and have it private, but then tell people that's a business page.
Hmm.
Another thing I would say, don't is don't copy someone else's page.
Yeah.
Have some originality, have some authenticity. Let people know who you are, what you're bringing to the table, what your brand is, and what you stand for.
Mhm.
Don't copy someone else just because they have a million followers, or half a million followers. That works for them and their platform. People
Yeah.
want to know who you are, why you're new, why you're fresh, why you're innovative, what you're bringing to the table. So don't copy other people. Take your time to study which platform is correct. And if you don't know, or if you're having trouble figuring out, simply ask someone.
Hmm.
There are tons and tons of coaches and consultants out here that will help you. That will help you,
How y'all doing?
get your page together. How to create content, learn how to properly message people. Don't
Yeah.
just go jumping in everybody's DM saying, "Hey, I got a new page. Work with me." Don't do that. Another huge don't beg people on social media to buy your product or service.
Yeah.
Like that, it's not for that. It's
Hmm.
for advertising and marketing, not for begging everybody in your friends list twice a day with an inbox. Like, stop. Let's stop doing that.
Let's
Please, let's stop
normalize
doing that. Exactly. And my biggest don't, out of any list I could give you, stop
that.
buying followers, people. Like,
The
the,
bot.
the bots, the bots gotta go.
The bots got
Stop buying followers.
to go. Yeah.
Like, come on. We know there's no way possible your page has been active for 3 days and you got 10 million followers. Like,
Right.
cut it out.
Right.
I'm
That's
telling you,
good. That's
play
good.
chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
Organic growth will bring you longevity.
Right.
And like I said, you want authenticity to shine through your brand and through your service and through your product and your business. Don't go and try to hurry up and get your numbers up, because a lot of those people that you admire, their businesses aren't really popping like that. Just because a person has a high follower count doesn't mean that their brand or that their business has a lot of value.
That's
So
right.
keep that in mind. And that's why I said be yourself. You know, like
That's what I was laughing
Mike,
at when you said
we got
that.
a comment from the audience. Mike Williams says a person has 1.3 million followers, but 6 likes per post. Exactly. Like, we can figure it out.
That doesn't add up somewhere. Something's going wrong in the
Doesn't add up at
equation.
all. So like I said, keep that authenticity, keep some type of originality, and just be yourself.
Yeah.
Those that are meant for you and those that are meant for your brand, those that are meant to be collaborators or clients, they're gonna come.
Hmm.
Just take your time and build it the right way. All right, next up, we have what are some key factors for creating a logo and a slogan?
Ooh,
Super,
okay.
super important.
It is. Okay, so this is more so like branding, marketing. But I do have branding and marketing friends. So I can tell you what I've learned from them. Um, best learn from them. So for instance, one of the places that I get information is watercolor color ink, and that's what she does.
Hmm.
Guess that was a plug because that's my buddy. But yeah, so she does like brand assessments and all that kind of stuff. And what I've learned from her is it's important to know things like what the colors mean. What are you, you know,
Hmm.
what the whole feeling is that you're even going for your company. What types of things that you're trying to help people with, and how that's associated with your brand needs to read quickly with what they see in your logo. So I think that is the thing, is like knowing what kind of colors you want to use, knowing what kind of messaging you want to use, what kind of slogans pertain to maybe like the story or the backstory or the journey that you're trying to take people on. So I think that the biggest thing is like really making it about who you are and what you're trying to provide for people, using different types of imagery, different types of things that can showcase like, okay, I want to show that my brand is about growth and development. And so when I think about growth, I think about plants, right?
Hmm.
And so when I think about plants, I mean, this is going to take some brainstorming, and you probably want to get with somebody who's like a designer. But when I think about it, I think about green being for growth, and then just thinking about the colors and how what you want them to mean. So you guys can also, I know that there's ways that you can get with consultants and they can help you with this, but you
Hmm.
can look and see on the color wheel what type of feelings go with certain colors, and what am I trying to do. And so for me, my brand colors are black, gold, white, and like a dark navy blue. You can do 3 to 4 colors. I have 4. And I basically use different ones for different products and services that I offer. But gold is about value, offering value. Um, Black is timeless.
Hmm.
And then as far as blue, that's more so like something that you're gonna see like more in a regal, like royal type of fashion, the color blue that I chose. So all of those colors have to also speak to each other. They can't,
Hmm.
collide and look crazy. But those were my colors, and that's why I chose those colors, is because I know that what I'm providing is really valuable. And it's something that's going to help you to build something, build a true foundation. So those are some of my tips and some of the things I've learned from some of my friends.
You definitely want to find a business color wheel. Like she was just stating, like it's very, very important to learn what emotions are brought out by what colors.
Mhm.
One thing a lot of people don't realize is that we're actually, I don't want to say brainwashed, but we're trained
Yeah.
by the economy to buy based on certain colors.
Mhm.
If you think about it, when you go in a grocery store, if it's something that's blue, you think about water. If you
Mhm.
see something green, you think about vegetables. It's good for you, possibly. You see something that has brown on it, you think of fiber, you think of bran and oats and
Mhm.
things like that. So we're taught to make purchases based on certain color schemes. And that also applies when you're creating a logo for your business.
Mhm.
When a person sees your logo, do they get amped up and get super excited? Or does it make them, kind of laid back and passive? Are they trusting? Are they energetic? Are they ready to go take on the whole world? What is it that your logo is portraying?
Mhm.
So take that time again, map it out. Like I can't stress that enough, especially for new entrepreneurs. Map it out, go through any and every logo that you could possibly come up with, and then people that you trust, or either your coach or your consultant, show them all to them,
Mhm.
and take a vote on it. Because something that's very, very key, a logo that looks dope to you may not be the proper logo for your brand and what you're trying to get across to your client base. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to keep that in mind as well. As far as slogans go, the biggest thing I can say for slogans is keep your personal feelings and emotions out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it strictly business. What are you trying to portray to your client base? What is it that you want them to know about your company? What is it about that slogan that's going to make them say, forget everybody else I was thinking about going to check out? I have to check them out first.
Mm-hmm.
Is it grabbing their attention? Is it grabbing their heart, or is it grabbing their mind? You
Mm-hmm.
know, you want to have something that just has that gotcha effect to it. Something that's also transferable across plenty of platforms. You
Mm-hmm.
want something that looks dope when you put it on a t-shirt, on a business card, across your website. You want to create something that's easy to read. Some people want to get super super fancy with their script, but people can't read it from far away.
That's good.
You'll have a very great client pass up on you for something as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
So think about those types of things when you're creating logos and slogans. Not just do you like it, but what is it portraying to your client base, your potential customers, and how accessible or readable is it for them? um, Another thing as far as slogans go, you want to stay away from certain topics as well. Like I said, keep your personal emotions out of it. Unless you have a political or religious company, stay away from certain hot topics as well. You don't want to create, a riot, which is slogan. Some people like that type of branding because it sparks conversation, but I'm telling you, that's not where you want to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not where you want to go with. You want something clean, something crisp, something that grabs their attention. Like I said, it evokes some type of thought or some type of emotion, and it brings them towards you, not repels them away from you.
Mm-hmm. Whew. What he said. I'm like,
Hey,
where's that? What he
when it comes to branding and marketing, like that's my bag all day.
said. I'm like, there he go. Right there. He just showed it off.
All
Okay.
right, next up, we got what are some budgeting tips for new businesses? We already alluded to it, how a lot of money can be blown when launching your business, especially if you do it incorrectly. So, what are some great budgeting tips that you have for new businesses?
Um, I would say first because I spent a lot of money when I first started. I sold my car.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I did my taxes. I put that, I gave it away. So when I sold it, I gave my car away. I donated it, and then I took the money that I got from that tax write off because it was a tax write off, and I started my business. That was
Okay.
like I think it was like $8,000 or $9,000 or something like that that I got back. And shout out to my brother-in-law because he loves me enough to tell me that. But yeah, like it was basically like I took that money and I was like, yeah, I can start my business now. First of all, there is no there you will not have like an amount to start a business. Like there's not gonna be
Mhm.
like, oh, I just need $100,000 and I'm gonna have a banging business. No, like
Mhm.
this is literally gonna be something that you're gonna be investing and reinvesting in until you have an exit strategy to leave the company.
Mhm.
So that is that on that. Like you will never, it won't be like this is the amount I'm gonna spend and it's gonna be great. No. There will be trial and error, but you can so the next thing is that there will be trial and error. I spent all that money thinking that I was just gonna be set in my business, and that's not accurate. Um,
Mhm.
so that would be the first thing, and then the next thing will be once you have decided this is what you're gonna do. Shannon keeps telling you guys like map it out, literally map it out, like write it down. Make sure that you have some form of a business plan. You can do a short one or you can do a long one. Um, get an idea of what type of equipment you're going to need for the type of business you have, what type of, like I've said it already, what type of things you're going to do in your day to day, and then see how much those things cost. Understand that you don't have to buy everything right now and start
Yes.
from where you are because a lot like y'all see the lights and y'all see all this stuff. This is because I bought this stuff when I first started and I didn't need it at that time. Like I'm just like, okay. But I didn't need it. So just start with what you have. If all you have is your phone, use your phone. Of course, you want to do things that are quality, but like don't try to do a full out production if you don't have the budget to do it. You can do it at another time and it's okay to do that, but don't start investing in stuff until you really start getting people in the door because you're spending money and you're in the negative and now it becomes a hobby instead of actually being a business because you're just spending money on stuff. So make your list of what you need to do, and then look at what you can viably afford right now, and do that. And then of course, like I've been talking about my business coach about reinvestment schedules. Think about it from a quarter to quarter basis. What can I get this quarter? Okay. Well, if I get this many clients in, then I can, buy that new tool I want or that new thing I want
Hmm.
to get to start doing this in my business. But until you start getting away to trial and error your stuff, like don't go out trying to buy everything. Um, it'll be a big waste. So that's
Definitely.
my tips.
Definitely great information. Like with one thing too for budgeting for a new business, and this is for my people that are trying to go from a 9 to 5 into direct entrepreneurship.
That's good.
Understand it is very, very, very draining on your pockets. Cannot say that enough. Do not let Instagram boost you up and
Yeah.
think you can just start a business, get you 1 or 2 customers, and now it's time to quit your 9 to 5. Take your time and budget. Take your time and budget. Map out all of your costs. How much does it cost for your products? How much is it costing for your internet? How much is it costing for your cell phone? Look at all of your monthly bills.
Mhm.
Do you have 6 months worth of your bills in your savings account?
That's good.
Because guess what? There gonna be some months you're gonna have 10 customers. There gonna be some months you're gonna have 50 customers, and then you're gonna have a couple of months where you only got one customer.
One. Mhm.
You still got to keep the lights on, you
Mhm.
know. So, do you have the proper savings? Do you have the proper savings for your bills? Do you have the proper savings to buy equipment? Do you have the proper budget for just the maintenance of your website? You
Mhm.
know, a lot of people don't realize buying domains and upgrading your website, it can get very costly. It
Yes.
can get very costly, especially if you don't know how to do it and you got to hire a person like me to do
Good.
it. And you got a million ideas trying to make the next Google website. It can get costly. Another thing, as far as budgeting goes, like Brittany was just saying, you don't have to have everything that you see on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Use what you got, and then piece your way through it.
Mhm.
There's so much you can do from your cell phone, and I don't care if you team Android or team iPhone. You still have a million and one options. You know, she says iPhone. There's so many apps that you can use to record content,
Mm.
get your videos out there, edit them, and have great filters on them.
Yeah.
You can do interviews from them. You can get a lavalier mic and set it up and have a professional looking interview straight from your cell phone,
Mhm.
and the mic might only cost you $49.
Mhm.
Like, take your time. You don't have to have everything that you see some of these major brands use. It
Have.
took them a while to get there. It's going to take you a while to get there.
Mhm.
Don't end up homeless trying to build your business too fast.
Lord.
Don't
I
end up with your lights and your water cut off because you're trying to build your business too fast. I'm telling you, it has happened to some people.
I think that that's one of the things that's maybe like a disconnect sometimes where you see
Hmm.
um the people who are successful. I think that, of course, like a lot of times you get advice from people when you're first starting that will tell you like go and look at somebody who you want to be like,
Hmm.
things like saying things like that. And I think that sometimes people take that so much to heart that they think, oh well, they said when this is the tool they had. They said, and one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest things, like in when I'm educating and mentoring people, is like, you do not have to have all of that stuff right now. You don't,
Exactly.
like, and you don't need to be worrying yourself about, well, what does this tool do, and this, or what about, like, that's literally like, it's literally like, if that's not your goal right now, you need to focus your energy where your time is going to be best or well served or better served by,
Mm-hmm.
focus on that particular goal and that particular software tool, whatever it is right now, and then build your way up. But I don't think that enough people say, well, when I first started, this is what I used. When
Mm-hmm.
I was at where you are, I was, doing this. And so I think that that's where the disconnect is. And so people go out and they spend like ridiculous amounts of money, like I did. I'm telling you, like I was like, okay, I got to get a mic. I got to get some lights. Oh, okay. I got to get the best computer. And I was telling you about that the other day. I got to
Mm-hmm.
get this. I got to have that. And I'm like, okay. In the midst of that, though, right? You have to learn how to use those things. I mean, it just takes extra time, and it's like, okay, am I even doing any broadcasting right now? Well, no, I'm not doing any broadcasting. Well, now the stuff is set up for however long, or now you
Mm-hmm.
wasted your money and you can't even use it. Like, I can say that I was using my stuff, but I was not using it as consistently as I could have been had I really,
Mm-hmm.
like, built it, built it up or whatever. So I mean, for the first probably 6 or 7 months, I didn't even use my stuff really.
Oh wow.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, I was learning, but I didn't use it just right off the bat. And so it's like, are you making decisions like that are going to have you spending money on stuff that you're not even utilizing? There's no telling how much money that I could have saved in that 6 to 7 month time frame if I
Mm-hmm.
would have bought it when I was ready to actually use it. So that's true. I think it's just a disconnect. People see what other people do, and then they try to make the same strides with the same equipment. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean that's an excellent point. You got to fall in love with the process, not with the finished product.
Yeah.
Because like she said, a lot of these people they went through some long roads to
Yeah.
get to where you see right now. Although they only want to post about where they are right now.
Hmm.
Learn the process behind that. Shout out to Nikki Saunders. I think she's one of the best
Hmm.
out there on social media at showing you, a lot of free tools, a lot of free software, different equipment to get, what sites to get it from, like giving you the real game of the behind the scenes of how to piece by piece set up,
Hmm.
your whole studio, and just how to use your cell phone. Like I said, there's so
Yeah.
much you can do from your phone. And I think she's one of the best at letting people know you don't have to go out here and break the bank. Please do not be one of those people that come and tell me you got a loan for some equipment to go live on Facebook or Instagram. Don't do that.
We
Don't
live.
don't do that. Like you can get a business loan for so much other things than just to go live on social media. Don't do
Weird.
that.
Yeah.
You know.
Whew,
All right.
that was a
Next
good
up.
one. That was a good
All right, let's discuss the importance of creating and maintaining a work-life balance as an entrepreneur. You spoke about it a little bit earlier, being a mom, also being an entrepreneur. So how do you create and maintain that work-life balance?
Did I mention I'm a mom? I'm crazy. What do you mean? I think that, and it's funny because I just posted a picture. I think this is one of my most highest engaging posts that I made the other day. But my daughter got into my hair gel and she saturated her whole head with gel. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah. In the midst of me being about to do an interview, like literally, I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then she walks out and she's like, I'm like, no, see, no, no. What you not gonna do is take me
Oh
out.
my goodness.
So I think, okay. So a big part of this is funny for me. I started out trying out my stuff with my equipment. Remember, I was mentioning with vlogging and blogging, and I was doing it on my motherhood experiences, which was funny. But I think that that kind of somehow helped me a little bit. The mindset, if you have kids or if you have a family, is that they're the priority. You have to remember. He said, "Haha, yes." I got so many things on that mic, it was not even funny. They're like, "Oh, it's so cute." I'm like, "Y'all didn't have to wash it out, okay? Y'all didn't have to keep your composure while you are literally about to go and do an interview." But no, I think a big part of it is just to remember. Like for me, I want my girls to be. I'm a working entrepreneur, okay? So I work different contracts and stuff like that. But like for the most part, my kids don't know a life where I have been gone for extended periods of time to be at work. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
blessed for that. But I will say intentionally, I want them to be exposed to this type of environment because I want them to know that they can create anything. So that being said, my first thing is my family is the priority. Everything that I'm doing is because I want them to have a different type of lifestyle. I want them to have, you know, I want them to have something different than what other people say success has to look like. So that's the very first thing. And just knowing that, remembering that they're the priority, they're the reason why I'm doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's of course going to fulfill me as well, but it's like, I want you guys to know. So keeping that balance has to do with remembering why you're remembering your why. A big part of my why is my purpose and my kids and legacy. And so remembering your why. What helps with the balance as well is making sure that you take care of yourself. Because I know for me, I can't, my kids are not okay if I'm not okay. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you take care of yourself. So whether that means, taking a walk, I'm very transparent with them. And I'm like, hey, mommy's got to work, mommy's got to do this. So it's like being
Mm-hmm.
transparent with your family and telling them, like, hey, this is what our process looks like. This is what maybe, we'll do this, like talk about things in time blocks. Like when I take breaks and stuff like that, my kids will tell me, they're like, you're working too long. Like they'll let me know. It's okay. Being able to have that open line of communication with your family and allowing them to express themselves as well, because being
Mm-hmm.
an entrepreneur is not easy. Because there's going to be long nights, there's going to be early mornings, there's going to be times where you're going to be like falling out your chair, sleepy, but you have to keep going. um
Yes.
and allowing your family to chime in and not making this like a journey that's only about you, because it makes an impact on them as well. So it's like letting that line of communication be open, and then taking care of yourself. And then the last thing I would say is that if you're gonna do this, that you have to understand that you're married to it, you're married to it, it's your baby, like it's like a whole situation, it's crazy. But understanding that when you need to take breaks, it's okay. um
Mm-hmm.
and setting time up to do that, like, is a key. But just understanding, like, don't put, because I'm it can become addictive. Like, don't get addicted to the game. Like, you literally could be like, okay, I'm making progress, let's go. It's like, okay, do I need to take a second so I can digest what just happened or the success that I just had? Like, so giving yourself time for those moments too. I think that that's what it's a whole process of what helps encompass the whole situation. But balancing it out is letting others chime in, giving yourself time to take a break, and just understanding that you don't have to be addicted to it to be successful, but but um
Mm-hmm.
you do have to put in the work. So those will be my tips.
Definitely some excellent points. It's like you said, it's hard sometimes, especially when you're new and you get so excited and you get your first sales, and
Mhm.
you get those customers are coming, and you completely forget about a lot of other stuff. You always have to be aware of what's more important. Take care of home, take care of home, take care of home. You have to work even harder to improve, your communication with your significant other, your communication with, for those that have kids, and with your family and your support circle. Because they're going to be also the ones that's there to hold you down when you go through those rough times with no sales and dry sales periods, and trying to keep you motivated and keep you boosted and keep you going. And sometimes it is hard to lose sight of that, and you got to learn how to bring yourself back around. And
Mhm.
then also make sure you take time just to unplug.
Mhm.
Um, when you it, when you're new, it can become greatly overbearing, and a lot of people end up quitting too early. It can be a lot on you, especially if you come out and hit the ground running and you start out with a bang, and you get a lot of customers, you're getting a lot of feedback, a lot of questions. Maybe you weren't prepared for it, or maybe you don't have enough help. You didn't get enough people on your team, or you don't have that go-to right hand man or right hand woman, and you get overbearing. Sometimes you got to pull yourself out of that. You got to unplug from the matrix. Take time to say, okay, from this time to this time, I'm not touching my phone. Or
Mhm.
from this time to this time, I'm not answering any emails. I'm not getting on social media. I know for me, sometimes I take a whole day, where I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like,
That's
I'm not answering nothing, scheduling nothing. I just don't care. This is a me day. You have to take
true.
time for yourself, because your business will run you instead of you running your business.
True. I,
So,
you said something else too, about your family. Don't get upset. Like this is it's not a singular journey, but like don't get upset if your family doesn't fully understand understand
hmm,
what you're doing.
very
They
important.
like so I used to get so unraveled about it. I'll be like, what do you mean you don't understand? Like I remember I got when I got my first client, I told my mom, and she's listening too. I told my mom,
Hmm.
I was like, Mom, I got a new client. I got a client. She's like, okay. And I'm like, I got a client. Did you hear what I said? I'm like, I just made my friends $500. She's like, okay. I was like, so now they like mess with me now, right? But it's funny because like I'll be like, mommy did this, and like everybody breaks out in the dance. They're like, yeah, like, and they get excited now because they like, okay, we know we're supposed like we don't know what you did, but we know
Uh huh.
you did good, so we're behind you. So like, just don't get upset because like I used to be like, oh my god, why don't they understand what I'm doing? Why don't they get it? Like, but again, like that's where it's your singular journey at. But then like you
Hmm.
share the journey with them because what you're doing has an effect on them. So I just thought about that when you were saying that. Like, don't get mad when they don't get it. That's why you have peers, like peer groups, and people
Hmm.
who are on the same path with you, or people who are above you who can mentor you, that do understand where you're coming from. So yeah,
And I mean, that's a very key point, because so many people, I hate to say it, but they throw away relationships when they get into business. And I'm like, it's really not that deep, I promise you. One
yeah,
thing you got to understand: this is your vision, this
yeah,
is your dream, this is your journey, this is your business. There are going to be days where everybody around you doesn't, they don't understand it, they don't get it, but
hmm,
you got to keep pushing. And that's the part where you have self accountability, and that drive and that motivation from within, because it's not everybody else's purpose, it's not their dream. So even if nobody else around you sees it, you got to have something within you to keep pushing, keep grinding, and keep going.
exactly.
But if you reach out to your two favorite cousins and they don't buy a shirt from you, like, that doesn't mean don't talk to them for the next 2 years. Like, it's not that serious. We got to stop
You're
doing that,
out of
people.
the family.
Exactly. Like, we really got to stop doing that. I've seen so many people go to war with friends and family, and I'm like, they don't get your business. Or you have a $10,000 service, and you trying to give it to somebody who good and well doesn't have $10,000. Like, don't get mad.
That's that
Like,
part for real.
you, so yeah, definitely work on that work life balance, your support circle, having the strength to pull from within as well. All right, so that is the first half. We're about to take a short break, and we will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the Successes Within Reach podcast. I'm joined by Brittney Iwegbu. And next up, we have, what is your process for creating meaningful business partnerships? A lot of people, they see people, they see companies that they want to work with, but they don't know the proper way to contact people. One thing, social media has kind of destroyed networking. Everybody just thinks you can jump in somebody's DMs and ask them to partner with you, and that it just doesn't go well in the business world. So what are some great processes that you have for creating meaningful business partnerships?
um because you like, he probably scared of what I'm gonna say, child. No, I would say meaningful business relationships come from authenticity. That's first. And just being authentic with who you want to connect with. Of course, there's going to be things that are common that you guys maybe compliment each other on. So you're going to, of course,
Hmm.
start by looking at that. How does this person complement what I'm doing already? How can I be of service to that person myself? And then start the conversation with an email. Okay.
Yes.
The email is, I know that and I like that you mentioned that social media has kind of taken down that barrier and made it a little bit more, or a little less formal. And I think maybe people think of email as formal, but I don't. I mean, literally, there's like how we talked about, not being on social media, not being on social media, not being on social media for a couple of days. Um,
Hmm.
you might be in somebody's DM or in somebody's messages, asking them something that is a little too heavy for the inbox. Like,
Hmm.
they might have a process and you just skip the line and you don't know what their process is. So it's kind of almost like you're disrespecting what they've created as normalcy in their business world. So at the base, just sending an email to people, even if you're in social media, you can look on the little bar to see, if it says email me, call me, whatever it says, that's probably their preferred method of communication. So
Hmm.
I would start there. But you can never go wrong with an email. Start off with a salutation. Hey, how you doing? Tell them who you are because they don't know you, man. And and then after that, like, let them know what you're trying to do. Get to the point. As business people, we got stuff to do. Okay. Real business
Yes.
people got stuff to do. They don't what One of my biggest pet peeves that I've grown to, like, it's grown on me as a pet peeve, is when people waste my time.
Hmm.
And I think that, I mean, you can call it a pet peeve or you can call it something that's just a character thing. I don't know. But I'm saying, um, or not even character. I think it's more so like understanding your value, and
Hmm.
you don't like people to waste your time. But understanding, like, hey, just wanted to say XYZ to you, or whatever it is that you're reaching out to them for, and then tell them how you're going to benefit them. Don't get in somebody's like email asking them like, hey, I'm looking for, a sponsor for my t-shirts. Why would I help? I don't even know you. Like, why should I sponsor your t-shirts? Why should I?
Hmm.
How are you going to help me? You see that I might be a big influencer, or I might be a person who is doing this. do some research about that person. This person might have on their website or in their portfolio, wherever you look for their stuff, right? That they give, away so many partnerships per year. So maybe you're saying, hey, I looked into your company, I saw that you do this, every year. I would love to be a part of that. Let me know how I can serve. Or you can even do a step ahead and be like, here's how I can help with that. Help them with the projects they're already doing before you start pitching them on the stuff that you want from them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of go from there. But like email for sure is the best form of communication. Um, and keeping it like that until you get to a point where maybe you are a little bit more familiar with them, and you can call them and say, hey, hey Shannon, you know what I'm saying? And in lieu of that, hey Mr. Smith, how you doing? Why? Because you don't know
Mm-hmm.
them,
Yeah.
hey Missy Weibo, you might not know how to pronounce it, but hey Missy Weibo, you know how to spell it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and if I say, oh
Exactly.
no, like it's those things that should be normal to us is being cordial, and we have to really get back to just learning to be cordial with one another, and having certain pleasantries that's like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Here's what I can
Mm-hmm.
offer. Here's how I can help, like those type of things. So I would say the best way for this will be for email, or reaching out, whatever they say, to whomever they say is their contact person, and asking, well, what's the process for this? How can I help with this? Whatever, that type of thing. So that's how
Exactly.
that's how I maintain my relationships, and I check on people. I'm the person who's like, what you doing? How y'all doing? What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, what's happening with this? And I don't keep notes, but I'm just really good with names, faces, details. I don't know why, but I just reach back out to people, and I'm just like, well, hey, what's going on? Check on people, and just keep those things moving by care. I mean, just care. Like, give
Yeah.
a care about the people. That's all I can really say about that one.
The great Jim Rome said, "Your fortune is in your follow up," and I mean that's just a true statement. Like she said, once you create a partnership with someone, don't just have it be that one time and they never hear from you again. That's not building a partnership. You just contracted them for a service or a product.
Mm-hmm.
That's not building a partnership. A partnership is a two-way street. So they do something for you, you can do something for them, you can
Mm-hmm.
help their platform in some form or fashion, and follow up with people.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been a minute, since we worked on such and such project. How have you been doing? Is there anything I can help you with? Can I offer my platform to help you with an upcoming project? Whatever the case may be, build that partnership. That's how you get people that in their circles, someone will say, hey, do you know anybody that can do XYZ? Oh, yeah, I just partnered with such and such a month ago. I think they'd be excellent because my schedule's kind of booked right now. Like, you have to realize networking is creating a spider web, and you want your spider web to be as big as it possibly can,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know how big other people's networks are. Excuse me. So you want to put yourself in a position to where you've created a partnership and a spider web so big that it's attaching to everybody that you're around and connecting with theirs. You never know how far around the world your name, your brand, your service is going to travel. I'm telling you, it'll shock you the day you look up and you got an email from somebody in Germany that's like, yeah, I talked to somebody that lives in LA and they told me about, your web building or about your marketing service or whatever the case may be. So
Right.
build those partnerships. Don't just get in the habit of jumping in somebody's DMs. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. DMs are not for business unless they specifically say on their page, contact me in my inbox. Other than that, like Brittany said, take the time, find out the proper email. Some people, if they say, "Oh, don't message me, contact my manager," contact the manager. I'm telling you, you skip over those steps, you get a quick no.
Mm-hmm.
You'll
Yeah.
get a really quick no.
But a big part too, though, Shannon, like one of the things that I've learned also, and like I mentioned my business coach, like, is always saying that certain things that entrepreneurs are supposed to have characteristics of. If you
Hmm.
don't listen, if you don't follow instructions, if you're not able to follow a certain beaded path that's been laid out for you, then what is it going to look like when we work together? And we might have some issues of comprehension, or may have some issues of trying to work together, and you don't understand me, I don't understand you, because you couldn't even follow the path of which I laid out for you to follow. You couldn't read what I told you to read, you couldn't do what I told you to do. So
Exactly.
why would I trust you further with my stuff? Like, you couldn't even do the preliminary things. So it's not to be, snobbish, but it's literally like, I put this in place for a reason. And if you couldn't follow that, then I'm a little worried about how our future interactions will go. And so, I think that those are like the ultimate people, like timekeepers, like of
Yeah.
everything. But I definitely aspire, because it's like, if they're not paying attention to those details, those are not people that may need to be in your space.
Exactly. And I mean, it just comes down to two basic principles for me. The first one is respect, respecting the things that I'm asking for, respecting and valuing my time. And then the second one is just a principle that all entrepreneurs follow, which is time is money.
Mhm.
Like you said,
Yeah,
nobody wants their time wasted, because if you're wasting it in the preliminary stuff, I already know what's going to happen if we go into a partnership. So,
okay.
like I said, that's a quick way to get a no. If somebody sends you a form and they have the little stars and say that this is a necessary answer, fill out the answer. If they say email them, email them. Don't call them. Don't inbox them. Like, just the little things, the little things can go a long way when you're creating partnerships. All right. Next one. This is where I'm gonna let y'all know Brittany's really about to get in her bag.
Oh Lord.
So the next question is, what is the importance of automation, and how do you determine what's needed?
Whew. Okay. What is the importance of automation, and how do you determine what's needed? Okay. The importance of automation. You're one person. Okay. So let's start there.
Okay.
um Being one person, you have to understand that you're not going to be able to do it all the time. And like, one of my courses has to do with building you up before you get a team. So
Mm-hmm.
um everybody kind of comes out of the gate saying like, oh, I'm gonna get a team, I'm gonna have this person and that person and that person, it's gonna be great. And you're like, now who do I need on my team? Like, what do I need? What do I need? Well, before you can even do that, you literally have to know what the steps are, which is why I said you need the steps. So a big part of automation is basically taking those daily steps, like taking those emails. So for me, right, I do an interview series. Shannon just mentioned a form, right? I have that form there because why? When I first started, there were questions I needed to ask in order for me to market people properly, right? So all of those little intricate details within that process, I was able to automate and able to say, okay, I need all this information. I'm going to put that into your marketing. From there, I'm going to put that into my email list. From there, I'm going to make sure that all of that information, what you're going to have to do, the email about your questions, the email, like all those things are automated. So it's literally
Mm-hmm.
like, the reason why it's important is because I'm gonna tell you, just that process alone, when I first started, it took me at least 4 hours just to get through that whole process. If I'm sitting at my computer doing it by hand every single time, who has
Mm-hmm.
that type of time? Nobody. Okay. So sprinkle in some little AI, put your computer on it, right? So every time this person fills out this form, that information goes over to this. Once that happens, then I get triggered some more information to do this. I get triggered to do something else. And I'm using my terminology. Trigger is just basically another word for saying something is going to happen because I did this. So
Mm-hmm.
literally, you creating that if and then relationship with these automated system allows you to actually buy back some of your time, which is what I tell all of my CEOs. I'm gonna help you buy your time back, because now you don't have to sit at the computer for 4 hours and wait for somebody to fill out a form. And then once you wait on them to fill out the form, now you got to go take the information and get on Canva and you got to do that. Like, those are
Mm-hmm.
literally things that you can get done behind the scenes and allow you to stay focused and in your space as a CEO. So the reason why it's important is just because you just don't want to waste your time. Those are times that you could be using for other things, like consulting with your clients. You could get 2 or 3 additional clients that you could be working with, and what's happening on the other side. Oh, well, all this stuff is already happening. For instance, I help with doing, like, I have some clients that have like groups and stuff like that, that I help to moderate in. I have things that I facilitate, that reminders have to be sent out to the groups of people and things like that. You can get all that stuff set up to where, I mean, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I need, and I was like, no, I don't. It's done. Okay, what am I thinking? I'm literally at the grocery store. Okay, I'm somewhere else, and it's still happening. So
Uh,
that's a way for you to duplicate yourself as well, and for you to really get into what it is that you're actually trying to focus on by having certain tasks that are repetitive automated. Especially if you are a service-based business owner. If you're someone who provides a service, all of those things being automated is going to help you to deliver a better service. So that's why it's important. And those are the things that you need. Really, the biggest thing that I would say that you need to have is making sure that you have an email list. Like, that is
mm-hmm.
my biggest push, because you want to make sure that you can communicate with your people. So anybody who's interested in your products, your services, your new launching ideas, anything you have to offer, you can send it through your email list, and you automate your email list. Your email list is basically, I don't like saying it like no, like it's nothing, but your email list is basically like where somebody says, hey Shannon, I'm interested in learning more about the CEO within you, right? Oh, okay, cool, great. Well, welcome to the CEO within you. Here's my free information that I'm going to provide to you for the next couple of days. Great. Let me give you an orientation about this, though. You basically are going
Mm-hmm.
to get an email every single week from me about XYZ. Boom. If you're cool with that, go ahead and check here. I'm cool with that. So now I'm getting emails once a week from Shannon telling me all about his interviews, telling me all about what he's doing, everything that I can do with him as far as partnerships, any of that stuff, right? And it's already included, and it's happening based on me just clicking on this one little form. And it's gonna keep
Mm-hmm.
happening until Shannon says, okay, we good with this. You don't have to collect any more information. We're good. So that's what automation. I just walked you through, in the layman's terms, what those systems literally do. There's checkpoints to all those things, and now he has your information, and he can facilitate and continue to cultivate that relationship with you based on just having your email address, right? So that's something you definitely have to have. Another thing that you would have to automate, um people get into having all these systems, but one that I would say is like kind of like a secret weapon will be Zapier. um
Okay.
Zapier is what's called an integration tool that will allow you to um, have different applications talk to each other. So let's say, you know, Flowdesk is an email system. Flowdesk and I'm looking at all my apps up right now. Flowdesk and Google, they need to talk. Or they well, those are both email systems. Salesforce. Okay.
Okay.
Salesforce CRM tool. So if I needed Salesforce to talk to my Google account, right? One is email, the other one is called a CRM tool or a customer relationship management tool. I want the two of them to talk, right? Because when I get a new client, I want to send that new client a welcome email. And I want them also to start getting a sequence of information pertaining to like an orientation. Here's when you attend orientation. Here's when you, whatever, right? So Zapier will help the two of them, the two apps, to work together to deliver that information simultaneously. So it's going to happen at the same time. I want this to happen in Flow, or excuse me, I want this to happen in Google when this is happening in Salesforce. It just makes things happen on a consistent basis where human error can come into play. So if you want the same thing to happen in that process, you automate it and you get those things set up to where every person should be having the same experience. Every person should be getting the same information. And so when you go to ask somebody for feedback, you literally are going to get good feedback. It's not going to be something that's going to vary because you have the same process. So, yeah, I'm systems and processes, baby, all day.
Like I said, if you want to get your time back and learn how to work smart and not hard, contact Miss Iwegbu. She will get your business squared away. I don't even need to add anything on that question. Like that, you hit a TED talk all on your own.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It is all good. All right. Next up, as we get ready to wrap up, what is one thing you know now that you wish you knew before starting your first business?
um, One thing I would have known. I think the biggest thing for me is always going to be the cart. Like not having a cart on my first website.
Okay.
Or not having a payment processor in place for my first website. I had a gorgeous site. It was cute. Okay. I was like, yes, you can't tell me nothing about this site. And then somebody asked me, well, how do I purchase a session? And I was like, I'll be right back. I'm like, I'll be right back on that note. After
Oh man.
just um, so I think the biggest thing for me would be just that, because it was like, yeah, you have the place, but like how are they going to actually secure your service? So if you're a service provider, because that's a lot of who I work with is service providers. Um because it's a little bit less tangible than like an actual product. Um,
Hmm.
but I would say just making sure that you have a place for people to purchase your stuff. So people can purchase your stuff in all types of ways, like through, your calendar system. You can have people purchasing things through like an independent payment processor, like a PayPal. There's all
Hmm.
types of ways you could, you can create a button and put it on your website. Like if you're building your
Yep.
page from scratch, like I ventured out into WordPress for my first site, and I learned all kinds of things about plugins and all type of stuff. Okay, but at that time, I wish I would have been able to tell myself like, no, just create a button, and then when you're ready to kind of start building up, then maybe you need to add or either that or add a cart to the page. Do a
Hmm.
cart as an add-on to your already purchased page or whatever. But I wish I would have known that, because I was like, I gotta start over. And so I completely, like, I just wiped everything and started all the way over. So I wish I would have known that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. And what's next for you? And how are you closing out 2020 to transition into 2021?
Okay. What's next for me? Um, what's next for me is I am going to be hosting more um hosting more classes, and offering more of the um, kind of technical literacy type of classes, basically, to help people, because a lot of what I see whenever people come to me is they're having a hard time with basic functionality.
Hmm.
So questions like how to build their email list, creating email sequences, like I just flipped, like kind of like grazed over earlier, segmentation and understanding your, who you're trying to reach out to, your scheduling processes, like creating your own things. Literally, I'm going to be doing a lot more of that in the future. So I'm thinking that's I'm gonna start building people up to, accepting or becoming a part of my mentorship. Um, what else? Closing out. I've already been doing so I do a whole lot, y'all. I do a whole lot. And so I've been trying to get better at, and this is me being transparent, but I've been trying to get better at, expressing, fully like everything that I do or whatever, or at least giving like an encompassment of like, here's what it is. But the big thing is I've been doing this mentorship where I've been helping people build their businesses and stuff like that. I'm going to be closing that, and still working on that. We're amping up more for next year as well, and just helping people with that kind of thing. So more mentorship, more courses, because I'm only one person. um, my course that's coming up is just going to be more so about helping you, turn your brainstorm into an actual thing with the tech tools you need. So all of the stuff that you're going to need, well, Brittney, I got this idea, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, like helping them to start getting that information through my courses and stuff like that. What I'm also doing is I'm doing a lot more with my interview series. I'm interviewing CEOs about the behind the scenes. So that, thank you for that. I just saw the text message list. So I'm basically continuing to build my network and reach out to people via email, via text message marketing, and doing more mentorships, more one to many, because one to one, I have very few one to ones anymore, because it
Hmm.
takes up a lot of time. So more mentorship, more courses you're gonna see from me, and more interviews like this. I'm gonna be, highlighting other people to let people see what their business is about too. So that's what I'm doing and where I'm going.
Good deal. Good deal. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode with Miss Brittney Iwegbu. Once again, you can catch her on Instagram at Brittney Iwegbu or at www.icoachlove.com/Brittney-Iwegbu-offers/. This has been episode 4, Strategies and Innovations for New Entrepreneurs, here on the Successes Within Reach podcast. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves. Don't forget, you can catch us on Saturday mornings. The podcast will be uploaded to Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Pocket Cast, and Breaker. And with that, I say we see you next week.
Thank you.